Hand loads for self-defense. I have some 357 Magnum light Magnums and some 38 Special plus P that I'm going to test. And I'm going to use the 2-inch barrel for the 38 Special plus P and the 4-inch barrel for the 357 Magnum. And why I'm testing this is I've had a lot of requests to test hand loads with legitimate self-defense bullets like Hornady XTP, jacketed hollow points. And there's a lot of debate on this, whether you should use them or not. And I have my own ideas on that. And the fact that these are light Magnums might play out a little bit in my discussion at the end of this video. But first I want to test them to see how they compare to factory ammunition. So I'm going to go through the chronograph, see what kind of velocity and accuracy I get at the same time. And then I'm going to go through the ballistic box, which contains a 1 3/4 inch pack of bologna, simulates flush, covered by 4 layers of denim, followed by a 1/4 inch medium density fiberboard and in 2 water jugs to catch this projectile. How this normally compares to ballistic shell, if we can get about the back of the 3rd jug, we're about 15 inches, back of the 4th about 18 inches. So this is typically where the normal range I catch a defensive bullet in. So let's get started with the 38 Special plus P and 357 Magnum and see how my hand loads compare to each other. All right, first up is the 38 Special plus P. I'll see what kind of velocity and accuracy I'm getting through this Taurus 605. These are 125 grain Hornady XTP bullets, by the way, for both the 38 Special and the 357 Mag. 904, 928, 912, 912. 903, so not too bad. And I did use the same brand of brass for all of these loads to keep it as consistent as possible. Now let's see how my light Magnums in the 4-inch barrel compare. All right, here's my light Magnums, light 357s. $13.66, $13.41, $13.28. 1353, 1348, relatively consistent and a little bit more accurate than I would say most of my factory loads are. I'm using tight group powder. It's been a very accurate powder for me. Well, let's hit the ballistic box and see how they compare to each other. 38 Special plus P hand load. We'll see how it does. All right, accurate shot. Flash back quite a bit. All right, do the bologna pack. Oh, we got typical for what we see with a bullet of this style. Not too impressive, but it worked. Let's see what we got in water jugs. All right, first jug. This is very typical. Split out the side, hole right through. Very straight forward through a trajectory. Fiberboard inside the first jug. Jug 2. Same thing, it's looking good. Nice straight through. Jug 3. Looks like we went through 3. Jug 4, so we caught it in 4. There's a little mark out the back of 4, a little impact in jug 5, not leaking though. So that's going to indicate 18 inches, solid 18 inches of penetration in comparison to the ballistic shell. So let's see what we got. And what we got isn't too bad really for an XTP bullet that normally will not expand at 38 Special velocities. Expanded a little bit and just about the perfect amount of penetration. So I'd say that's about right. Now let's see how the 357 Magnum compares. All right, 357 Magnum hand load. We'll see how this compares. Wow. That first jug is destroyed. The bologna pack is destroyed. I'm soaking wet. We have just absolute bologna destruction. The hole through the fiberboard indicates it's already expanding. All right, there's bologna pieces just everywhere here. First jug, it just annihilated it. Big impact hole. This would again indicate it was expanding as it entered the first jug. Jug 2, a lot of splitting of the jug. Straight trajectory still. We have a mark on 4. Pretty significant mark on 4, and an impact out the back of 3. So that would indicate 15 inches of ballistic shell penetration, and we caught that bullet. And I would say that's really good performance. We didn't get jacket separation. We didn't get too much fragmentation either. So I would say the velocity that we were sending it at through that 4-inch barrel is about right. Sometimes we go too fast with the XTP, shreds it up. Sometimes we go too slow, it's not going to expand at all. So it did relatively well. So hand loads for self-defense, should you use them? There's a lot of debate on this. There's a lot of internet rumor going around. And I've read a lot of that. Like something like a prosecutor would say that you used wicked loads that were they're more wicked and painful, so you used excessive suffering. Number two, they're not reliable. I've heard this talk so much. Not reliable, not reliable. Like everybody that hand loads is going to do everything wrong and they're not going to be reliable. From my experience, I actually have had less malfunctions with my hand loads than factory ammo. And I would say I shot probably as many hand loads as factory ammunition because it's cheaper to do, and I've had more reliability with hand loads. So what does it really come down to when we talk about not using hand loads for self-defense? What it really comes down to is whether you want to use them on the street or not, and I would say no. For concealed carry, no, don't use them. And there's a very specific reason for that. Anytime a self-defense shooting happens where maybe there's a witness that has a different story than yours, and this is going to be contested of whether this is a clean shoot or not, your ammunition might put you at a different position than what that witness says. So let's say you had lighter than average hand loads. You loaded them up light so you could shoot fast, and when that ammunition has to be tested by the prosecutor, they're not going to send off your hand loads. They're going to go and use what they think you had. And in this case, they would think I was using Hornady ammunition. They'd try to find the Hornady, probably American Gunner for these 357s, because that's just like it. And what would they find? They'd find something different performance than what I had. So let's say, for instance, these were lighter than average. Let's say my story is a guy had a knife and he's stabbing at me. He's point blank range. I pulled out my firearm and I fired with these lighter than average loads. With the loads that I used, that would show through powder residue. That was the distance I fired from. Now, let's say they tested something that's more powerful. Well, more powerful ammunition is going to push those powder burns out farther. So instead of being point blank, you were 10 feet away. And that's going to completely refute that story that you were point blank being attacked by a knife. And if there's a witness that supports the bad guy's story, you're kind of in a bit of trouble there. So I would say if you're going to use hand loads for self-defense, one, you either have to be in a really bad situation when it's better than nothing. You know, that small chance that you're ever going to be in question whether it's a clean shoot or not. You know, let's say your need for self-defense outweighs that. Or number two, home defense. If you're in home defense where it's castle doctrine, that's never going to come up. Was it a clean shoot or not? Somebody broke into my house, I fired my weapon. Your ammo's never going to be tested for that. So that would be my main takeaway from it. It's fine to use for self-defense, but don't use it where it's a possibility where it can be contested in court. So use it in your house, fine. Don't use it for concealed carry if you can get something else. So that's what you get today with my hand loads and a little bit of story of what I think your advice should be on hand loads for defense. So as always, comment, share, and like, and thanks for watching.